planning on doing a series on constant with focus on the glory, on various different pieces of the glory, and in this one, I'm going to be talking about who we are, like really getting an understanding as to who we are, so that we can grasp with a more crisp understanding as to how we can generate the glory, how that we can move in the glory, release the glory, and understand those things. But and I do get in a little bit into releasing it, um, but I just wanted to kind of go over who we are. So I've been sitting here just listening to the Holy Spirit and just writing some stuff down. So I'm just going to go ahead and read what I wrote down, and then just kind of go from there. Okay, so who are you? You are a spirit. You have a soul, and you wear a physical body. Your physical body is what allows you to interact with mundane physical matter. So, however, we consider it physical because of it's like it has like dense movement and molecules, and it basically creates the illusion that it is solid. Because like uh, when things are moving, they move at varying frequencies, and the faster they move, or the slower they move, is the actual varying level of density that makes it physical or spiritual. I mean, see, here I am. I'm already adding things in. So, like, if you look through an electron microscope at, say, your finger and a Pepsi bottle or something, and you look in deep enough, you'll come to the point where you see like super strings, um, or well, you'll see like atoms, right? You'll see really small things, and when it comes to the point of comparing the difference between your finger and the Pepsi bottle, when you're looking at like zooming in really, really deep, all you see is like moving lines. You see frequencies and stuff, right? So all things are moving all the time. You're moving. Everything physical is actually moving. If you go in deep enough, like if you start at a point and go outward, like into the sky and into space and into the cosmos, and keep going and going and going, you'll end up at God. And if you go inward, right, if you zoom in deep enough, or deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, you'll still end up at God, right? So you can start, you can go out or in, and no matter which direction you go, you're always going to end up with God, end up at God. So your physical body now represents many things. Remember, you're made in His image, so the representations of your body are grand. They are huge. So think big. Um, so these are symbolic layers of movement, inward, outward, and upward, downward. Okay. So what do I mean by inwards, right? Imagine that you have a pen that has the ability to draw, lines and curves in midair. Just imagine like a sky canvas or something. Um, Now, draw a floating circle. It can be however thick you want it to be. It doesn't really matter. Um, and next, draw a circle around that one, right? So you have a center circle. Now you have a circle on the outside of that one. And finally, draw one last, even bigger circle that fits around both those circles, right? And leave quite a bit of space in between them too. It's helpful. You don't want to have them like right on top of each other. Um, Although technically that really is the way it is. But yeah. Uh, so now convert those circles to spheres, like balls, right? So you got a circle. Now give it some roundness to it, right? Make it round. And I'll show you why we're doing that. We're making it three-dimensional. And the reason we're making it three-dimensional is because we're talking about moving inwards, right? So now stand in front of the first one, way back there, right? The balls get bigger and bigger and bigger. And yeah, so stand in front of the first one, and see it as a representation of your physical body. Now move forward, right? Walk forward, and they're kind of transparent too. I mean, you got to be able to walk through them. They don't have solidity or anything like that. It's just a representation of your physical body, right? This is understanding on movement, right? Moving inwards. So now move forward and you step through the first layer and into the next ball. And so now you're looking at your soul, right? So you started out your physical, and you can go from any direction of the ball. You can walk around the entire thing and go inward, and the next layer is your soul. So then you step in one final time, and then you'll see your spirit man. All right? Now, this is what it means to move inwards. So give me 1 second. I'm going to mute this. Okay. So now, from the standpoint of your body being a temple, Jacob said that he saw a stairway leading up to heaven from his body. And then he woke up and said, this is none other than the house of God, the gateway to heaven. So when Jesus died at the cross, the curtain that blocked access to the most holy place from the standpoint of the holy place was torn from top to bottom, opening up access to the most holy place from the holy place. It says when Jesus went into the inner sanctuary, aka the most holy place, he actually entered into heaven itself. So now your physical body is the outer court of the temple, right? The outer ball is the outer court of the temple. Your soul is the holy place of the temple, where the bread of life and the table of showbread, the bread of life, and the light of the 7 golden candlesticks, aka the 7 spirits of God, are burning inside of you. I think in another video I'm probably going to go over the actions that take place with the 7 spirits of God, because there's many manifestations of the on earth as it is in heaven from that standpoint. So your spirit is the most holy place, which is now open for anybody to access. See, in the Old Testament, only one priest could access it, and only once a year. And any other time, they would meet death, basically. So your spirit is where the altar of incense is at, and this is where you do your intercession. This is where you pray. This is where you pray. You pray at the altar of incense. Now, between the cherubim of glory, over the top of the Ark of the Covenant, the Ark of the Covenant's atonement cover, is the mercy seat, where the all-consuming fire of God burns with indescribable love and unstoppable power. This all-consuming fire is your spirit and his spirit combined together as one. Like food coloring and water is inseparable. You mix it together. That's that fire in your spirit is the all-consuming fire between the Ark of the Covenant. So the Ark of the Covenant is where the stone tablets of the 10 Commandments reside. This is where you love the Lord your God with all your mind. This is spirit. Your mind is spirit, imagination, thought, creation, fire. All your heart and all your soul, right? This is your soul. This is the second layer. And all your strength, your physical body. So see, so instead of going in, we actually started from going in, we went out. And that was just love. That's filling every single part of you with love, filling every part of the temple, filling the outer court. When God, when the glory of God was on the threshold, and it filled everything, right? That's what's going on. It's the glory. It's His love filling you, filling your physical body, filling your soul, and filling your spirit. So remember, you're moving inward through the circles and outward. We were just doing outward. So you saw your body in the realm of the spirit, and So if you saw your body in the realm of the spirit, and looked inside of it, you would see the temple and everything, right? Leading all the way into heaven. So if you were just standing there, looking inside the realm of the spirit with fully spiritual eyes open, you'd be able to see the gateway to heaven right through your heart, right through your physical body, through your heart, through your soul, and straight into the spirit, and you'd be able to see heaven right there in front of you. And then you'd be wondering, why on earth am I not releasing the Lord to the outside, with healing power, with miraculous power? That's where it comes from, right? So this is why God wants worshipers who worship in spirit and in truth. Not the ones that say they worship me with their mouths, but their hearts are far from me, right? That's why he says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your mind, all your soul, and all your strength, right? It all works together. And it's a bringing together of oneness, right? A oneness inside of you, with him, and in a congregation of people, or, whoever's, a group of worshipers. It's a bringing together of oneness. That's what it's about. So you have the 10 Commandments of love in the Ark of the Covenant, right? And the Ark also contains Aaron's staff that budded. So Aaron's staff swallowed the serpents. So a representation of every authoritative act used with this staff is the crushing of Satan underfoot. It is making a public spectacle of all principality and power. And you, yes, you have been given authority by God to trample over serpents and scorpions, and to rule and have dominion over the whole earth. So it's absolutely incredible. That's the inward outward aspect of who you are, right? It's pretty amazing. I mean, you can literally, you could take Aaron's staff. You can take the love of God from the inner sanctuary and bring it out to the outside, right? Along with authority, along with Aaron's staff that budded, carrying. So you're in the most holy place with Aaron's staff that budded, and with the love of God just burning inside of you, right? And then you come up through the all-consuming fire, Shekinah fire of God, in the most holy place, across the altar of intercession, right? And you're taking this authority, you're taking this love, and moving it through intercession into the holy place, right? We're moving inward to outward, into the holy place where the 7 spirits of God burn on the chair, on the candlesticks, and the bread of life, and then you're taking it to the outer court, right? Where the burning of the sacrifices takes place, where the purifying of water takes place at the laver of washing, and then you bring it to the outside. This is the laying on of hands. Remember, the outer circle is your physical body. The holy place is your soul, and the inside is your spirit. And so you're taking the fire of God and you're moving it from the most holy place through into the holy place, outside, right through your hand, bam, with healing power, right? So now, so inward and outward is one. That's one way. Now, what do I mean by upward and downward? Well, Jesus in Revelation, in the realm of the Spirit, was shown to John that his eyes are a flame of fire. And remember, in the realm of the Spirit, his head, I'm trying to think of how to explain that. So the sword came out of his mouth, right? So we're talking about his head. We're talking about his eyes have the flames of fire coming out, and then the sword comes out of his mouth. The all-powerful, unstoppable Word of God comes out of his mouth that splits between soul and spirit. See, and here we are in spirit, the Word, right? We're starting at the top, and that is spirit. That's where spirit's at. And his legs are burnished bronze, right? the burnished bronze is more like solidity. Remember, I was talking about density earlier, about spirit moving into physical matter. Well, the burnished bronze is solidified. It's earth. It's redemption. It's purification on earth as it is in heaven. Right? Just like taking from the most holy place, from the in, and releasing heaven to the outside. Um, and then it says also that the angels ascended and descended on the Son of Man, right? That's up, down, up, down. And so this is very literal because our bodies, being made in the image of God, are designed to allow spirits, the Spirit of God, the seven spirits of God, the Holy Spirit, spirits, to move up and down to manifest to the outside. So this is why this is another way, right? So we were talking about the laying on of hands and everything from the inward to the outward, but now we're talking about power coming down and then and coming out, right? Like a waterfall, whoosh, and then coming out, boom, right? With power. So power moves from heaven, from Him. Okay, so imagine that. So here's Jesus sitting on His throne, and the Father, with the river of water running underneath His throne, and just all that power just being brought down like a waterfall into you, with waters that stream up to eternal life, and so they're moving through you, right? His power, it's His power. It's not your power. It's His power. It's His power moving through you, not by you, right? It can be commanded by you, or it can dynamically, from a sovereign standpoint, flow through you by His power. But He is giving you authority to choose whether or not you want to release it or not, right? And so it's all Him. It's not you. It's not you. It's all Him. And the thing is if you actually look at it from the correct standpoint, you're not separate from Him in any way, shape, or form. And so when you move in Him, by Him, through Him, you're moving as Him, right? It's hard for the mind to understand it. But yeah, okay. So what you're doing is you're opening up the gates by faith to let Him through. Okay. So he doesn't just come through. If he was coming through everybody right now, everybody would be healed. That's why He sent us out. That's why He sent Moses. He gave us the commands to do the work. That's why He sent the disciples in pairs to go and do it, right? Because by faith, that power releases out. You know, well, we weren't able to get rid of those evil spirits. Well, you have little faith. How long am I gonna put up with this, right? So it could be by prayer and fasting that you could do it, but truly, if they had the amount of faith, it would actually release through them. See, and the thing is about faith, just really quick, is you do have to have 100% faith, but it's only in the moment. See, that's the key. That rising up, that knowingness, right? That if somebody tells you that your name is not your name, you're going to look at them like they're crazy, and show them your license. Say, look, this is who I am. This is who I am, right? And you're doing the same thing in the Lord. You're saying, look, I am in the Lord. I am one in the Lord. And I know that by His power that is in me, that faith is going to be released, that the Lord is going to be released by my faith, right? And there's absolutely no doubt in the moment, right? And it's only in that moment that it cracks open the gates, and then and the power flows. It lets the Lord out to do what He's going to do in order to accomplish what needs to be done. It doesn't matter how small or big, because His power can handle all that. In fact, it's just touch-up paint to His creation. Imagine that all of His creation is you know, um, a big humongous canvas that's painted. Um, Healing power and miracles, raising people from the dead, even severing a completely a severed head from the shoulders and bringing it back, or even taking someone who's cremated with the dust, you know, and stuff that's been poured inside of the ocean. It's all there. It's all, you know, it's all part of matter or whatever. So wherever it's at, God can call it right back, just like He called the dust, um, uh, you know, to account when He formed and built Adam. It's simple. It is so ridiculously simple. It doesn't have to be made hard. We're the ones that make it hard, right? It's simple because there's nothing, there's absolutely nothing that He can't do, and there's nothing that you can't do through Him. With man, it's impossible, and with God, all things are possible. All things are possible, right? Um, So you have the laying on of hands so others can receive healing, right? And even cloth garments being charged with God's glory, you know, with His power. I mean, you can literally take the glory that is flowing down and press it in. You don't even have to use your hands. Your hands, it just makes you feel better. You waving your hands around and stuff. But you can consciously see in your mind the movement of the glory going into that garment and filling it, charging it, and it's doing exactly that. We'll go over more of like how that's possible here soon. So remember, you're made in the image of God. Um, so you are a representation of His actual image. If you look at the inner workings of your body, just above your head is one of the entrances into heaven, or from heaven. Um, your head is where fire is, the all-consuming fire. The head of the body that you grow up and mature into, um, which is the mind of Christ, the Creator, right? That's what's in your head. Um, your chest is where your lungs are. That's where the breath of the Holy Spirit, wind, is at, right? So you got the all-consuming fire of God. You got the movement of the breath of the Holy Spirit in your chest. You're made in His image. Um, and below your chest, but above your waist, is where things like your kidneys and stuff store water. And the Holy Spirit is also known as water, right? The blood is a form, a solidified form of movement of water. Um, you know, and then everything solidifies from your waist down, um, you know, to the earth, and there. So these are the four elements that make up all creation. You know, you have fire, you have air, you have water, and you have earth. And when you combine all those together in varying degrees, you have creation. You are made in the image of God, the Creator, as a co-creator. Um, you ought to have a conversation with wisdom, understanding, knowledge, and might. Not to, you know, I'm not tossing out the other spirits by any means, but their personalities, they're real. I mean, I'm telling you, if it's so, they're the seven spirits of God. If they are spirits, then you better believe they have personality. You know, wisdom is a person. Understanding is a person. I've talked to them several times, and they give amazing insight. You know when you call to them. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you guys something. On my prayer call that I have in the morning, at one point we were all just kind of imagining, and we were sitting around a campfire, just with the seven spirits of God, with God the Father, you know, with the Lord and the Holy Spirit, and just very, very peaceful and just sitting down. And the fire was in the center of all of us. Changes color. It'll dynamically change color, right? Yes, we could, with our imagination, force it to change color, but you can also sit there and just look at it, stare at it, you know, with it being a color, and then all of a sudden it'll just come and pop into your mind without you trying to control it by any means, and it'll just change color. Well, there are different colors that represent the seven spirits of God, and this is one of the ways that God has, one of the tools that God has given us to be able to know who's talking, who wants to talk, right? Because we can hear the still small voice of the Holy Spirit, but it's like, okay, well, who's talking? Is it an angel through the Lord? Is it the Holy Spirit directly? Is it God the Father? Is it the Lord, the Spirit of wisdom, might, etc. Anyway, so yeah, you might want to have a conversation with wisdom, understanding, knowledge, and might, because wisdom was the craftsman at God's side as all creation was made, right? We're talking about creation. We're talking about your body is a micro version of all creation, right? Um, it was, and it was by understanding that the heavens were set in place, and by knowledge of how the earth's foundations were laid. And might is the one that takes the power of spirit and transforms it into solid matter to varying degrees. Um, Using what we know now and how all things hold together. God Himself is how all things hold together. Electric is power. Magnetic, is what holds things together at varying degrees of density. Um, and that's just one small piece. Don't even put God in a box, by thinking from the standpoint of electric and magnetic. He's the spirit of power is way more than that. Believe me, I've had some conversations. It was really he's awesome. Um, so speaking of energy and density, if you look if you look at the breakdown of physical food in your body, it eventually comes to the point where it becomes actual energy. That your body uses to stay alive. It's your fuel. Now, remember, Jesus is all things, and by Him you move and walk and have your being. Um, so your head is fire and spirit, and from your chest to your solar plexus is air, which is your heart, right? Your soul. So we're doing that. Remember, from the in and out, we have the physical body, the soul, and the spirit, and so now we're moving down, right? So we have fire on the top, and eventually, and then you have air from here, from below your head to your solar plexus area, which is your heart and your soul. That's air, right? Um, and then your solar plexus is down to your waist is where water is. So and you notice that in your body, see, this is talking about an increase of density too, right? So fire and air are much lighter than water, and then water is a little bit heavier, and then finally you have earth at the bottom. Your waist and down is solid matter, right? So on earth as is, or actually, well, this is on heaven as is in earth, heaven to earth. You know what I mean? Um, so your physical body organs even relate to a microcosm of the greater macrocosm. It even ties into the planets and the whole universe. I mean, God, it's amazing. God is all things infinitely small and all things infinitely large. And as spirit, He fills all things, and the fullness of Him lives inside of you. So you're a whole lot bigger than you might think you are. Um, Let me show you a couple of scriptures real quick. In John 1:3, it says, "Through Him all things were made, and without Him nothing was made that has been made." So when you think about that, through Him, whenever I see the word "through" in the Bible, it's an indication to me that you're looking at a tunnel. Through, you're going through something, right? You're going through something. So through Him, so everything, you have this great void behind of things that haven't been created. So through Him, all things were made. So you have this void, and you have thought, and things that are pushing through Him in order to actually create. And without Him, nothing was made that has been made. So everything that you see in all creation, no matter what it is, went through Him, right? It's all through Him. Okay, so now in Colossians chapter 1, uh, verse 15 to, uh, oh sure, we'll just go to We'll go to 20. The Son is the image of the invisible God. Duh, everybody knows that. The firstborn over all creation, right? The firstborn over all creation. Remember, creation went right through him. So for in him, okay, so now we're not talking about going through him. Now, instead of going through him, we're actually stopping, right? So we have this void of all these things that are not created, moving through him and being created through him. But now rewind a little bit, stop right where you're in him. So here you are. Now you're in him. For in him, all things were created. Okay, so that right there just actually showed you that the thought and all the different things behind are cooked inside of him. Recipes of different things that are put together in different ways are made inside of him, right? And they're made inside of you also, because you're a co-creator and you're made in his image. So, for in him all things were created, things in heaven and on earth. Oh, okay. So it's not just the things of the earth. It's not just the cosmos. It's heaven. Everything in heaven was even created through him. And on the earth, visible and invisible, right? I mean, it's only considered invisible because it's outside of the electromagnetic spectrum of what our visible sight can see. You know, it's actually there. We just can't see it with normal sight. And so, therefore, it's called invisible. But it's actually there. Whether thrones or powers, okay, so he created all that, or rulers or authorities, all of it created through him. All things have been created through him and for him. So not only was everything created through him, but also for him, okay? He is before all things. And in him, oh, here we are back inside of him again, all things hold together. Oh, really? So that means that not only were things released through him to become manifested creation of all sorts, invisible, visible, heaven, earth, matter, gas, spirit, everything that you can possibly think of. But there's an even greater mass of the Lord on the outside that holds everything together. And it has a lot to do with like frequency. I mean, if you want to look at it like from the scientific standpoint, vibrations are what, you know, are the differences of the density of matter and the magnetic force that holds it together and all that stuff. But see, the thing is vibrations are sounds. They're generated by sounds. The heart of the Father loves his creation, every single part of it, and he sings beautifully over all creation, all heaven, all earth, everywhere. All matter is held together by him, by the song of the Lord. And he is the head of the body, the church. Okay, now this is going to throw you for a loop, all right? So what happened was, he is the head of the body, the church. We're not just in the body, we are the body of Christ, right? So since we are the body of Christ, and since Jesus existed before all creation, but before anything was ever created, then that means that his body, because he's the head of the body, remember, his head has never been severed from his body. And so that means that because he is before all things, that means that you also are before all things, because you're part of his body. And his body has never been severed from his head. And so you're a lot bigger than you think you are. So he is the head of the body, the church. He is the beginning and the firstborn from among the dead, so that in everything he might have the supremacy. That's an understatement. For God was pleased. Oh man, he was pleased. It made him so happy to have all of his fullness dwell inside of Christ. and through him to reconcile all things, to bring everything back into alignment. I can do another video on how things come into alignment, like the blueprint of how all creation works, like together, all the way to all the different things in the periodic table of elements are made by geometric shapes and things, and there and the blueprint that God originally created, that was tainted, changed, altered at the fall, was able to actually use the same blueprint, but with a tearing apart motion, as opposed to a bringing together of oneness and unity motion. And so what he's talking about here is he's talking about taking what death took, taking that tearing apart and bringing it back together, reconciling all things, reconciling to himself all things, whether things on earth or things in heaven, by making peace through his blood shed on the cross. It's absolutely amazing. So now you can actually generate God's power around you and breathe him in and release him to the outside. So you have the up and down, and God's power flows down from heaven and out through your hands, just as an example. But as it comes down, when you're worshiping the Lord, you're not just doing something that he likes to have done. You are quite literally manifesting the glory of his presence, the glory of his power around you. When you declare what God says you are, who God says you are in the scripture, I am made one in Jesus. When you say that, you become that. The things that you say and the things that you declare by faith manifest. They manifest. And with the intensity, to the measure that you use, it will be measured to you, right? If you measure saying, "Oh God, I praise you," that's going to be the only amount that you're going to get back. There's nothing that comes back, hardly. But if you say, "Lord, Lord, Lord Jesus, I love you. I love you with all my heart," right? You can see the passion. And the movement. I can actually feel my hands heating up, and I can feel power moving out of my hands as I'm doing that right now. And it's with intensity. Like it doesn't have to be loud. It just it's a yelling, it's a crying out of every single part that is on the inside of you, moving, condensing, and just moving, to the point of a volcano getting ready to explode. And it's that intensity, and it builds that field of glory around you, and then you can move in it. Oh, you can move in it. Okay, so this comes to the understanding of what moves through you. The blood, the breath, which is spirit, right? And the water. And they're all in agreement with each other, right? See, isn't it cool that the Holy Spirit was going through a bunch of different scriptures? As I was writing this, he decided to pop in a lot of scriptures. If I was mentioning the stuff without scripture, this would be nothing short of mysticism. Oh, yeah, God is mysticism. He is spirit. Is it New Age? Oh yeah, it's actually Old Age. It's been around ever since before creation. Okay, so now let's look at this from the standpoint of communion. Physically, when you take communion, you take a physical piece of bread, and his body is broken. The curtain is torn from the most holy place, between the holy place and the most holy place, opening up direct access to the heavens. And I think I said that before, but I'll say it again. Because remember, when Jesus died and gave up his spirit, he went into the most holy place. But in Hebrews, it says that he didn't just enter the inner sanctuary, he entered heaven itself. Um, so, so the physical act of grape juice and physical bread is the outer court, right? So now we're talking about the in out again, right? It can be the in out and the up down. They're both in unison together with each other. Um, it's very strange to think about it, but and that's just one comprehension um, of it. So the physical bread and grape juice is the outer court of the temple. You declare with your words, which are very powerful, and with your faith, and it literally takes those physical items and consecrates them, right? Consecration is the act of taking something physical and making it possible to access the spiritual, right? How else are you going to have communion with the Spirit in the physical? With the Lord Jesus. So, in order to sup with Him, you need to be partaking of um, of something that's spiritual, right? You're not just eating bread, and you're not just drinking juice. I can tell you that right now. So as you partake the bread, you are moving from the outer court to the holy place, right? Where the bread is, right? That's the bread. That's the bread. And consequently, the bread is also as the jar of manna inside of the Ark of the Covenant, in the most holy place. So your partaking of the bread is actually doing several things. It is the act of a joining together in unity, in communion with Jesus. You're cracking open the gates of heaven so that your soul and your spirit are combined, fused together, and made one in Him. Um, it's even like Aaron. During the priesthood, he sprinkled the blood against the altar. He sprinkled the blood over the people, and over the furnishings and stuff. It's a combining. It is a fusing. The power of the blood is a bringing together, and it is an amazing. It's amazing how it works. So you're made one in Him. Then when you partake of the fruit of the vine, it is the flow of the blood moving all throughout your physical body, your soul, and your spirit. The blood is actually congealed light. Scientists have discovered that blood is congealed light, right? So the red blood is like this. It's blue inside. When oxygen hits it, it turns blue or turns red. Um, but the actual state of blood itself is the light of the glory of God. And so if it's open to its true form, you will transfigure. Um, you will literally transfigure. The blood is the light of the life of the glory of God that comes to the outside. And so when you partake the blood, you're moving the blood inside of you. You're moving the spirit inside of you. So you crack open the gates of heaven into the physical realm and inside of you, and you're releasing the Spirit of God through the blood into your atmosphere and into you. And it's amazing. So when Adam was created from the dust, he didn't have life until the Father breathed life inside of him. So breath is spirit and breath is fire. Water baptism is for the physical body, Holy Spirit baptism is for your soul, and fire baptism is for your spirit. It's all consuming and all purifying. Every single one of them are a level of purification and manifestation of the Holy Spirit. Now, since you are spirit, you are actually breath, right? Because when God breathed into Adam, the breath is what gave him life. Spirit is breath, and breath is spirit. Thought, imagination, and vision, and much more is contained and transported through the breath, through your word, His word that is in you, right? So remember, you are a spirit, you have a soul, and you wear a physical body. So since you are spirit, you are limitless. The fullness of him is contained in you, and the only way that this is possible is for you to be big enough to contain him. Well, nothing can contain him. Therefore, nothing can contain you. So, as spirit, you are creator light. Created light is varying levels of spirit to matter with density and such, but you're above this. And therefore, by his command, in authority over it, right? God has, by his own will, his own pleasure, and his own command, he has poured out authority onto Jesus, and Jesus gave that authority to us after he triumphed at the cross, right? The authority was given to Adam. Adam gave it to Satan. Jesus took it back at the cross, and he gave it to us. That wasn't such a good idea. Apparently, God thought it was, because he knows, he believes that we're going to stand in intercession and change this place. So otherwise, he wouldn't have done it. So you're in authority over all creation. If an object is tossed into the air, the faster it goes, the slower time goes. If the object achieves the speed of light, time completely stops and enters into the realm of eternity where time does not exist. You are light, okay? So you are breath, and you are spirit, and you are light, you are life. You are creator light, right? So no matter what, you're always operating from the realm of eternity where time doesn't exist. You're here on earth listening to this, and yet God also says you're at his right hand in the seat of authority, seated in authority at his right hand. So this is being in two places at once. And you can actually be in far more places than this. I mean, look at Jesus. He's everywhere with everybody all the time. And he manifests darn near with, infinite instances of him for various purposes and various forms all around the world. And in heaven, the cosmos, filling eternity, the eyes of the Lord are everywhere. He's everywhere. And so since you are in him, as him, then wherever you're at, he's at, and wherever he's at, you're at. It's this connectedness of oneness, right? So the closest distance between 2 points is normally a straight line. However, because you are creator light above created light, the source of all creation itself, you are at all points at the same time, everywhere. So, if you think a thought, right? A thought is a point. If you think a thought, what you think about not only immediately manifests in the realm of the spirit, but also is translated to you. So it comes to you, and then you to it, right? Bam, fused. If you want to look at it that way, I mean, technically you're already there. You don't even have to have a tunnel or anything. The truth is that you're actually in both places at the same time. When you're thinking a thought, you're here, you're thinking the thought about something, and all those things are at the same place at the same time. Even when you target, what you're praying for, then that comes into that point, right? Everything's together. So, hold on, I lost where I was. Yeah, so if you choose to lay hands on somebody, if you choose to lay hands on somebody, that is not by you. Oh, I know what I meant. Sorry, my punctuation was off. The Holy Spirit wrote really good. I just can't read my own writing because I didn't punctuate it the correct way. So, okay. So if you choose to lay hands on somebody that is not by you, that's what I meant to say. With your imagination, right? So somebody is not in the same room, or they're miles away. Heck, they could even be in space visiting the moon. Whatever. It doesn't matter where they're at. But you want to lay hands on them with your mind, with your imagination, and you are actually precisely doing that. Because remember, You're thinking about them wherever they are, and by doing so, you are immediately taken to them and them to you. And your hands are set on the place where you're thinking, right then and there. They could even actually physically feel, if they're sensitive enough to be able to physically feel in the spiritual realm, they can actually pick up that your hands are on their shoulders. So the combination of your thought, imagination, vision, tied together with faith and your breath is how you move the glory. It's how you move God's power. So your thought, imagination, and vision are items that can be placed into a container that is created by your breath. I better repeat that one again. That's kind of big. So your thought, the things that you think about, the things that you imagine, the visions that come to your mind, right? And by the way, you're already an expert at seeing visions, because how many things do you try to like think about during the day? You know, whether they be good or bad. Those movies that play in your mind are visions. You know, it's just a matter of turning those off, getting to a blank canvas, and then letting the Spirit of God show you what He wants to show you. Then you're doing what you see the Father doing. It's like what Bruce Allen says, a sanctified imagination. So your thought, your imagination, and vision are items. Okay. So now let's say that those are like products on a shelf, you know, that you can put into a grocery cart or a grocery bag. So those are items that can be placed inside of a container that is created by your breath. So your breath can actually form a container of sorts that stores a thought, that stores something in your imagination, a picture, a vision, anything. So if you imagine yourself now stepping inside of Jesus as He was transfigured, you are literally moving into that place of time. So you're going back in time, or I mean, if you look at it from this standpoint, you're already there. So you know, when you read the Bible, you're actually there at those times as you're reading it. That's why the Bible is so powerful and so transforming. Well, that's one of the reasons. But yeah, I'm not going to go into that. I'm going to digress. You are literally moving into that place of time. And experiencing exactly what Jesus experienced at that transfiguration. So then from this place, you could actually breathe in His glory, right? Consciously. Imagine that you're standing inside the Lord and you're looking around. You look at your own hands, you can see that they're glowing with the glory all around them. You can look up, you can see the glory bright all around you. Everywhere you look, your legs, everything. And you breathe it in. You just breathe it in, and you can see it all moving toward your face, toward your hands, toward your arms, toward your chest, your back, your legs, the bottom of your feet, everywhere. Just it's coming in from all directions like a sphere, right? Like a sphere moving from all directions, from every part of every part of the outer part of the sphere, just going inward inside of you, right? So from this place, you breathe in the glory, and add your own thought. I'm gonna do a meditation on that too. I need to quit interrupting. Okay, so then from this place, you breathe in the glory and add in your own thought, vision, and imagination, and then you breathe it out, right? But see, the thing is, so you're standing inside of Jesus, right? You're standing inside of Jesus and you're breathing in, but then when you breathe out, if you breathe out, are you going to be breathing out that biblical time to hit the disciples so that you knock them off the mountain? I guess you could, but I wouldn't recommend doing that. That probably wouldn't be very nice. No. If you change your thought, right? So you breathe Him in, then you switch your thought around to think about something else, someone in this time, that needs to feel His glory or His love. You can breathe in anything, right? Imagine that light that is around Jesus contains something of Him that you want someone else to experience, right? It could be healing power. It could be love. It could be encouragement. Any of the fruits of the Spirit. It could be anything like that, right? So let's say that you're inside of Jesus, you're looking at the glory, and you're seeing that glory is love, and you're breathing that love in to you, because you know that there's somebody out there that you're praying for, that you're interceding for in the inner sanctuary, that needs to feel the breath, that needs to feel his love. And so you're thinking about them, right? Um, uh, and when you're thinking about them, you can let's say that this person doesn't have any interest in Christ at all. You can actually think about the inside of their heart. Now, don't inject like thoughts. Remember how I told you can put thoughts inside of the breath, and move that in. Right now, we're talking about moving out. So don't put in your own suggestive thoughts into their heart, because that's kind of violating the rules, if you will. But you can fill them with love, right? It's okay to help somebody to feel the love of the Lord, to feel that the Lord is holding them and loving them. And so if their heart is hardened and you can't with your words get through, their heart that is hard, you can actually imagine the inside of their heart, and you are by default immediately translated inside of their heart, outside all of the blocks that are on the outside, and then from inside their heart. So you think of them, you're translated to them. Then you think about the inside of their heart, you're translated inside of their heart, and you breathe out. You breathe out the love. You breathe it all out. See clearly. If you're inside their heart, then you can be small, or you can be big, or you could imagine them being super big, and then you being the same size. It doesn't really matter. Your spirit, you can go anywhere you want to, right? And you have all this love contained in you, and you just release it. You just release it out consciously. You consciously see that love releasing. I mean, that's actually one thing that's helpful. Imagine that their heart is the entire space of your room, right? So you're bringing their heart into that space, and you're sitting in your rocket ship, as Michael Van Blyman calls it, your chair, and you're breathing out. You're watching the love of Jesus fill their heart, fill every single part of their heart, every part of their heart. Okay, let me read this again. So then from this place, you could breathe in the glory and add in your own thought, vision, or imagination, and then breathe it out. If you want, you could do it through your palms into a ball made by your breath, from the glory container, with what you put into it. And as you keep doing this, you can actually physically feel the manifestation of this glory ball. So what that's talking about is, you breathe in the Lord from the transfiguration of whatever it is that you want to do. And so instead of translating yourself into the heart, and the heart over you, and then releasing it that way, releasing it to the outside, you could actually, it's inside of you. So you're releasing it from every part of you, out of your top of your head, out of the sides, out of everywhere, right? When you're inside of their heart. But you could also keep it contained inside of you and just release it through your hands. And I am not kidding you. You can actually, you can choose for the glory to release through just these two fingers right here. And when you learn how to feel in the spirit, you can actually feel the glory moving between two fingers. And then you can say that you want to do your middle finger, or your ring finger, or your palms. And when you do your palms, you can actually feel a force, if you will, being pressed out of your palms, and it forms a ball. It forms whatever you want. If you think about a ball, it's going to form a ball with whatever size that you want, right? And so I'm going to do it right now really quick, just so I can try to explain what I'm feeling when I'm doing it, okay? All right, so I'm breathing in the Lord. I'm breathing in the love of Jesus. I'm breathing in the love of Jesus. I'm breathing in the love of Jesus. See, I can feel his presence just moving in my solar plexus. It heats up. Okay, so it starts out as thought. It starts out as thought, air, right? Air, fire, um, and then it moves down. I can feel his love moving down into my heart. It makes my heart feel really, really good. And when it goes down into my belly, it heats up like fire. It heats up like fire. Um, and so I'm breathing him in. I'm breathing him in. Right. That was up down. That was up down. And then there's also the in out. Right. I'm drawing him in from all around, and I can feel. It feels like a. How do I explain that? Um, like a glove that's maybe I don't know, this thick all the way around, and it's kind of magnetic in a way. Um, but I can feel it. It's like it's a radiation. It's a radiating presence of the glory, right? So I'm breathing in and feeling all these things on the outside, and feeling the movement on the inside, and then I'm choosing consciously to breathe out through my palm. So right now, I can feel it's not pins and needles. Pins and needles is uncomfortable. Just imagine a bunch of pins and needles moving, um, but it's it's the glory. It's the glory moving, and you can feel it coming out of your physical hands. So here we go. I'm breathing in, consciously breathing out through the palms. Okay, now as I'm doing this, I could actually go like this. I could choose to consciously breathe out. Now, I'm not just breathing out of my mouth. I'm breathing out, imagining things coming out of my hand, right? I'm breathing in the Lord on the inside, and I'm breathing out through my hands. I can feel the movement of the glory through my hands. And if I put my palm over my arm like this and move it up as I'm breathing out, I can actually feel the intensity of of the glory moving up and down. And it can be on in the inside of your arm and the outside, right? You can move it. You can move it anywhere you want to. Um, but as I breathe it in, right, or I'm sorry, as I breathe out through my palms, I can actually feel. Let me do it. I can actually see light between my fingers. I don't know if you guys can see light between my fingers. You probably have to have some serious equipment to be able to see this, because it's a spiritual type of site. It's blue. It's very, very vibrant blue. It's stretchy. It's really stretchy. It's like spirit. It's really cool. Um, yeah. So right now I can feel, if I move this hand this way, I can feel the edge of the ball right here. That's the edge of the ball. And on this side, I can feel the edge of the ball. So I can go like this, and with the precise feeling of having a clay ball in between your hands is exactly what this feels like. I mean, it is physical. It is actually physical. Um, and I can feel a swirling up here too. Like when light moves, it moves in the form of DNA. Bruce Allen's talked about it multiple times. You know how DNA twists? That's how light moves. That's how light moves. That's how it moves out of your hands. You can feel it. You can feel it spiraling out. Um, and so you're spiraling out, and whatever you're thinking about, right? You could put a thought inside of here. You could put the love of Jesus inside of here, and then you could release it. You could choose with your will to release it, to shoot it, or to manifest it. In any way that you want to. Okay, but enough on that. So. So you just keep consciously breathing into it, and it will fill up. It'll increase in strength, and when you feel ready, you can release it by faith, to whatever target you so desire. Cheryl Fritz actually talks a lot about this sort of thing as well in the Fireball class. It's really cool. So in fact, though, you can fill an entire atmosphere with this release, and I kind of talked about that before. You don't have to put it into a ball. You can just consciously breathe in the glory. You don't even have to move your hands. You can do it with your mind and with your spirit. Um, and breathe it into the atmosphere. So your mind is a frequency translator. Everything in all creation is made up of frequencies, millions upon billions of frequencies, right? If you tried to go to a website that was not www.blablabla.com, but instead 11100010011, yeah, good luck remembering that. You're not going to remember that. And so you have what's called DNS, which is what takes those numbers and it translates them into an IP address, which translates it into a name that you recognize. God did the same sort of thing, sort of mechanics with our imagination. So that's why He communicates to us in dreams and visions, and in our imagination, is because He takes complex understandings and frequencies and forms them into a single picture so that we can understand very easily. And it's reality. The imagination is reality. If you guys have a hard time with that, I can certainly do another video on that. I have it in my book too, and From Desire to Fire, I talk about the imagination extensively. So does Bruce Allen, and Sadhu does too. Sundar Selvaraj, and Michael Van Vlyman. Yeah, lots of wonderful, wonderful men of God. Um, so as far as the atmosphere is concerned, you can, if you imagine like the 80s, right? There's a feeling to the 80s. If you imagine the 70s, there's a feeling to it, or the 60s, there's a feeling to it, right? You just know. There's a feel to it. Or if you think about 80s music, or if you think about Christian and worship music, there's a completely different feeling that it has with it. That's a frequency, right? So a frequency can actually be tied into anything. It can be tied into a concept, a thought, an imagination. It could be tied into a place, a room, a person. It could be anything. If you think about Jesus, you're immediately tied into His frequency, translated to Him and to Him to you and you to Him, right through a tunnel. That's why you got to protect your gates, your ear gates, your nose gates, your mouth gates, your eye gates, and your feeling gates. They're all gates that allow you, and wherever your thought is, what is that saying? Wherever thought flows, energy goes, or I'm sure you guys know what that is. But yeah. Whatever you're thinking about is where you will actually be at that time. That's why it's important to sanctify our imaginations. That's why it's important to keep ourselves clean and focused on the Lord and worshiping Him. So as far as an atmosphere is concerned, you can release the glory into an atmosphere, right? So you breathe it in, and then you think about, let's say that you want to release it into the White House or over Ukraine. You could release it over Ukraine, and it would, everything that makes up Ukraine as Ukraine, physically, spiritually, soul, everything, everybody in it, will be you'll be releasing it into that frequency. Or if you're in a house and someone's having a hard time, or whatever, if there's an argument going on, you can think about the room. The moment you think about the room, your spirit is connected to every single piece of that room. And so whatever you have in you to breathe out is going to be breathed out into that room. The glory, the love of Jesus will be breathed out into that room. And then you can just sit and watch everything change. Nobody else will know what's going on, but then you can actually watch the change. Or you could go like maybe into, I guess, well, I mean, Christians don't usually go into bars and stuff, but I'm just thinking about an example. If you went into a place where there was like, dancing or, some stuff like that going on, and you release the love of God into the atmosphere that isn't normally there, people are gonna just like stop and look around and be like, what is going on here? and you'll know it. You'll see the difference. Um, and so if you think in your mind and want to think about, I just did it. This room, breathing in the glory. Yep. Yeah. So you're basically you're unlimited by your imagination. Your imagination is absolutely unlimited. You could actually fill and release the glory to any distance that you want. As a matter of fact, one thing that God taught me personally, He took me into outer space and to one of those really super huge planets, like the ones that are like 1,000 times bigger than Earth or something, or one. It was really really big, and he said, okay, what I want you to do is I want you to put your hands around this planet. I was like, okay. So I imagined the planet in between my hands, right? It doesn't matter. The fullness of the Lord lives inside of you, so that big planet can be right in between your hands, and it was between my hands. And he said, I want you to fill it with the glory. I was like, okay. So I did. Like the ball. Apparently the planet is what he wanted me to fill with that glory. So I did. And it took a lot. It took a lot of strength um, to do it. But I released. I pressed in the glory into that planet and just watched it start glowing. It started glowing really, really bright. And I said, now what, Lord? I can feel it right now. It's like making me lightheaded right now because it's very intense. Um, then I said, Lord, what do you want? What do you want to do now? And he said, okay, I want you to take the glory, leave the planet there, but take the glory and I want you to bring it over to the earth, and I want you to center the earth right in the middle of it. I was like, okay. So here, a little tiny, speck of the earth was around this huge ball of glory. It's just huge. And I said, okay, Lord, the earth is in the middle, now what? He said, compress the glory into the earth. And so I said, okay. And actually, no, I didn't say okay. I was like, how do I do that? he basically, his answer is always by faith. You can clearly do anything by faith, right? So then I just compressed it in. Like when you're building the ball and stuff, to put thought in or whatever to release out, you can actually make it as any size that you want to. I had mine this size. If I thought in my mind that I want it bigger, I can go like this and still feel the edges, right? Sometimes you have to breathe out a couple more times in order to actually build those edges around, but they'll be there nonetheless. And so here we are with this huge glory, right, of this planet, and I just pressed it in. I made it smaller, right? So I talked about making it smaller to bigger. Now we're making it bigger to smaller, right? And just kept compressing it in, and it was getting more intense too. It was actually flexing my physical muscles, and I could just like feel it pulsating. Like my head's hot up here. My stomach is hot down here right now. Like everything, like there's just energy pulsating everywhere. And I'm not going to compress it down all the way because it's just going to throw me off. But you can understand, once it got pushed all the way down, it was basically the glory radiating around the edge of the earth, kind of like the ozone layer in a way. Um, okay, so anyway, uh, this is the first one that I'm gonna do, and I might not be able to do a whole lot more today necessarily because I want to go spend time with the Lord. After doing these, I want to spend time with God. But I might break some of the things that I talk about in here into meditations, so that you can like really get a grasp on what it is. Like going into the temple and the movement of the glory. I would like maybe a meditation on generating the glory, maybe a meditation on releasing the glory, and even moving in the glory, right? Like a sneak peek of moving in the glory would be you you build the ball or just a ray of energy or whatever it is, the way that your imagination wants to see it. and you can give it color, right? Imagine that power is coming out of your hands, you know, and maybe it's blue or red or you know whatever color. Um, and what you can do is you can imagine yourself doing the movement and firing it off, seeing it coming down from heaven, building up in you, welling up like a volcano. Just like God, the way that He did creation, He had a thought in His mind, He contemplated it, He meditated on it, it dropped into His heart, it moved Him with compassion and love, and then He spoke with creative power, let there be light, and everything was. Right? And so it's the same movement. You're pulling in, and then you're releasing out right through your hand. And so if like let's say that you did that kind of in a fast movement, just woof, boom, right? Um, but let's say that like moving in the glory. Let's say that you don't want to be the one releasing it. Well, you can. You can actually be in multiple places at once. Um, so you're the one releasing the glory, but you're slowing it down. You're slowing the movie down. And so what you're doing is you are like let's say that you're right here, right, and you pause the scene, and then move in the spirit to look around, to see all around. You can actually see the fire coming out of your hand, and then and later on I'll show you how to like project into it, where you can actually be inside the glory itself and moving, feeling what it feels like to move as the glory. So yeah, there will be a lot of different things. This video is getting pretty long though, so I think I'm gonna jump off, and my wife is calling. So I love you guys, and have a wonderful and